Hello, beautiful person watching this. I'm so happy that you're here. Welcome to my very first Overexplained video. Normally I am a Ascension 20 player, but in this case I would like to play it on a bit of a lower one. Hopefully one bang it as I believe that I can, and explain all of my decisions and how I myself am able to never lose outside of Ascension 20, probably. So without further ado, let's get started. Here we are with Niao. Of course, every single run of Slay the Spire, you'll be offered a whale bonus. Sometimes if you had died in Act 1 before the boss, you won't get all 4, but that's a whole thing. So, first let us examine the map. So initially you want to look at the beginning part here. Very important things to note here are that the first 3 fights will be from the easy pool fights. After that, you will start getting much harder fights, and they're a much larger pool as well. The easy fights are only like Jawworm, Cultist, Slimes, those sort of fights. And then it becomes really difficult sometimes if you get like the Gremlin Gang or Slime Gang. Then those fights can be very deadly if you're not ready for them. And so definitely worth realizing that you only want to take 3 fights until you're ready, pretty much. And so that makes early question marks a bit more enticing, generally speaking, but you also want to take enough fights that you get enough card rewards that your deck is ready to fight the elites. If you don't take enough combats, then you might not have any good cards in your deck yet, and then you're just going to die to the first elite you fight. And so you want to find a nice mix there. Generally, 3 fights and some question marks is a nice mix. And then also a campfire beforehand, giving you either an upgrade on your best card or health if you need it, is definitely desirable. And so the only option here to take a campfire before an elite is either here or here. And then we have some late act elites here. And so we could take a 3 elite path here if we wanted, but there's no campfire before this elite, so it does look a bit scary. And if I were to go this way, it would force me into this elite, so there's definitely some new players who believe that you have to take like every elite possible or else you won't scale enough to get through the game, but that's definitely not true. If the path looks too ugly and you're pretty sure you're gonna die, then you should just simply go a different direction. It's probably gonna be fine. And so there is a shop here as well. Can take 3 hallway fights here, 2 question marks, a shop, a campfire, and then go into our first elite right there. And then we can decide to go this way. If we happen to get a lot of money, we can perhaps take another shop here. Otherwise, we can just go this way. And that seems pretty decent. So looking like we want to go like this, take our 3 fights, and sometimes the question mark will be a hallway fight as well, which could sort of give you a hallway fight earlier than you're ready. Just a risk you're going to have to take sometimes. Something like this, and then I'll mark go either this way or this way, something like that. And now we talk about our whale bonus. Take 21 damage. That's a higher number than I'm used to seeing because you have less max health at higher levels. So Transformer card is good, although it's a lot of variance. Pretty much never clicking on max health is just not quite rewarding enough. Take 21 to remove 2 is a good option. Removing 2 is very good. And there's also the boss swap, which a lot of variance on this. You could get like Calling Bell into 3 trash relics and lose immediately, or Busted Crown and lose immediately. But you could also get like a really good Astrolabe or something like that. And so probably gonna click remove 2 or transform a card here. This path is looking pretty nice, so I'm probably just gonna take the remove and to go with that. And then ideally you would like to remove 2 strikes here, of course. The problem with doing that is that you need the strikes in the early game, gotta kill Gremlin Nob and whatnot. So, and of course in even your normal hallway fights, if you have too few strikes and you can't quite draw them when you need to convert energy into damage, then it can be very awkward. So I'm gonna do the simple strike defend, but you can also do 2 strikes if you're feeling a bit frosty. And give that a try, see which one you like more, I suppose. And let's do it. So immediately we are presented with a choice. We can either full block, or we can take 2 to play a strike. Our next turn we're not going to be able to block at all, and so I think I'd like to full block here, just so I can play Bash Strike next turn. And now our next turn is going to be pretty awkward as well. Triple defend. And could, again, choose to strike to deal 4 damage. I think I'm going to, yet again, overblock by a bit here. And luckily it is not hitting us here, so I can go Bash Strike, and then hope to draw 3 strikes here, or Bash Strike. And there it is. So, got there. And found a regen potion. Pretty nice potion, and I like having 3 potion slots, very nice. So, here's our first card award. We're offered a Second Wind. This card can be very, very powerful when you're doing stuff like Feel No Pain and Juggernaut and stuff like that. Dark Embrace in your deck's very good. But until that point, it can be a bit awkward. It's not doing a whole lot for you. Drawing the skills and this card at the same time, it can be a bit awkward. So a possible option later, but definitely not worth putting in your deck right now. Body Slam is very, very tough sell on floor 1 here. No way to gain enough block for it to be worth it over just a strike even. So very, very poor card here. And we have a Pommel Strike. Basically strike plus damage-wise, and it draws you a card. An excellent, excellent floor 1 card. Arguably top 2 common attacks for Ironclad. And it's also a card that scales as the run goes on, because unlike other attack commons, it also draws you a card. So very, very happy to see Pommel Strike, and I'll be clicking that. Alright, so we have Double Slime. They're very angry and attacking. So hitting for 18 damage. And it's looking like we're going to be here for a bit, so I'm going to take the time to use our regen potion. Basically, if you're going to get the full 15 health out of it, you can just use it most of the time. And then, hoping to draw a defend here. Pommel Strike plus strike is 15, killing the small slime perfectly. And then we want to block as much damage as we can. So I'm going to play Pommel Strike first. Do draw our defend, very good. And I can just strike and defend. Full block and strike, of course. Not going to take too long on this sort of turn. And then here, I could bash Pommel, but it is not killing, and I want to see if I draw defend. And I do not. Very sad. And I'm going to choose to pass here. That way I can gain more health with my regeneration potion. But now, if I were to pass again, I would take 3 damage in return, so not worth it anymore. So I'll be killing here. And we receive an attack potion. That's an excellent, excellent potion in the early game, helping us give some damage against the elites. Very happy to see that. And then we have some decent choices here. Metallicize is a nice supplemental block card, gaining you 3 block at the end of each turn. Just a little bit slow, but we could use some block for sure, so I'm feeling pretty good about this Metallicize. Perfected Strike is a decent common attack in the early game. You may not want to commit to building a strike deck, but just the base damage with, you know, the strikes you start with in your deck, and maybe a Pommel Strike or 2, makes Perfected Strike a pretty formidable card. However, because of the fact that it gets worse and worse throughout the run, and it's not particularly strong even when it is in the beginning of the run, definitely want to try to avoid Perfected Strike unless you need the damage, like you're literally a floor away from Gremlin Nob and you're not offered anything else, then definitely you want to click it. And Hemokinesis is here. 1 energy to deal 15 damage is quite a lot. We could use some more damage, of course. All we have is a Pommel Strike. And this take 2 is a bit unfortunate, but the amount of damage it deals is making it worth it for sure. So between these cards, you have to consider at this point what you're coming up against soon. So by the time we get to here, we need to have enough damage to kill Gremlin Nob, Lagavulin, Sentries. Metallicize would be pretty good against sentries, but the other two fights not so much. And Hemo is good against all of them, and arguably it's better just in general. So Metallicize a card in Act 2 or 3 you might pick over Hemo, but at this point in the run, Hemo is by far the better card, I would say. You're looking for those strong attacks until you have enough damage. I'll be clicking on that. And our first event here, only 50 gold to remove, very cool. Usually it's 75 when the unfavorable events ascension happens. And so, looking to card remove yet again. The benefit of card removing, although it may make your deck slightly worse right now to remove a strike, is that later on, as you have more and more good cards in your deck, and you can avoid it drawing basics at all costs, then your deck will be just better. It'll be much more consistent. And yeah, we could heal for 20 as well, but I'm feeling pretty comfortable here, and removing is very good. If you can get away with the remove, you should, but definitely not the case that it's like a run-losing thing to click the heal. If you really, really are low, if I was like 30 or lower health here, I would probably be clicking the heal and feeling very, very good about it. Some people may also feel like I need to take all of the permanent gains to power rather than the temporary ones like current health instead of max health or whatever. But definitely not true. The hardest part of the game is not getting to the point where you can win every fight. It's simply not dying. It really doesn't take a lot to scale enough to kill even the hardest fights in the game. But not dying, boy, is that hard. This game is tough. So clicking the heal here is totally reasonable, but in this case, since we can get away with the card remove, I think I'll be clicking on that. And of course a strike. Now that I have Pommel Strike Hemokinesis, can definitely afford to get rid of another strike. And on we go to our next easy pull fights. We have the Lice. So sadly, I am drawing not enough defense here. And so here's the thing about this. If we draw into this Hemokinesis, we can one-shot this one. So I want to Pommel Strike the right one. And then if I draw a defend, that's also good. So drew a defend instead. Take 4, that's fine. The Hemo will kill that. But here's the question now, do I need to play that? So I can go bash here, defend, and then that's bad. I can go strike. I can go bash here, defend. Next turn, Pommel kills this, strike kills this, and I only take 1 instead of 2. So since this does 2 to me, obviously the power of dealing 15 is very, very good. It makes it worth picking, but you can also think, hey, sometimes I don't need to play it and I can actually save a little bit of health. And so yes, in this case, I'm always going to be saving this 1 health, so I will do that. Doing this instead of playing Hemo gains me 1. Why not? Some good cards here. Burning Pact is arguably one of the best cards Ironclad has. Exhaust a card has a lot of exhaust synergies in Ironclad, and just basically your kind of acrobatics type card, just drawing you cards. Very, very strong, but it's a little bit early for it. We don't have any exhaust synergy yet, don't have any way to gain energy, and so it might just be a bit too slow for us at the moment. There's also armaments. Upgrading a card in our hand is rather good. The upgrade on armaments is a bit of a bait sometimes. It can be hard to draw enough cards for that to be meaningful, and often upgrading the exact card that you want is not that much worse than upgrading your entire hand. And True Grit is here. True Grit is a card that is much worse when not upgraded because it no longer is random, the card that you exhaust. And so taking unupgraded True Grit, you'd really need to be committed to upgrading it, I would say. And in this case, we'd love to upgrade this Hemo or this Bash to do more damage. So I'm going to be clicking on armaments here. All 3 of these cards are very good in their own way. I just think it's a bit early for these 2 here, personally. So that's okay. And our first next question mark is a chest. Clicking on that for sure. We got Ornamental Fan. And in this case, I'm doing Ascension 10, so I don't believe I'm going for the heart at all, so I'll be taking every relic. But every time I play 3 attacks a single turn, I will gain 4 block. And Pommel Strike makes that a bit easier as well, so that's pretty good. Something like an Anger would be nice now, to be able to play more attacks in one turn. And then going this way. Burning Pact is here and on sale. So we're pretty ahead of schedule on removes here. And Inflame is here. Inflame is a card, as Ironclad, that you may overvalue as a newer player. It kind of seems like, you know, just like Defect loves Defragment and the Silent loves Footwork. Of course, Ironclad should love the Inflame, but simply not the case. It's not quite on the same level. Strength comes much easier to Ironclad, and unless you have cards that synergize with the Strength, Reaper, or cards that multi-hit like the Sword Boomerang here, then it's simply not that much better than just playing the attack instead. If you gain 2 strength, then you need to play 3 strikes for it to even break even in damage to 1 strike. When you say it like that, it sounds really bad. And yeah, so looking at this path, probably can just get away with card moving yet again. And I'm okay with that. Could also, if you want to be a little bit more safe, you can buy a potion. Flex Potion, very strong. So the most aggressive line here is Flex Potion, Sword Boomerang for exactly enough gold to buy those. And then you would simply never ever die to any elite with that. You could just Flex Pot Sword Boomerang and deal 24 damage plus 30 plus 50% if it's vulnerable. So that'd be very strong. But I think in this case I'm going to get away with card move. If you think you're a little bit weaker, you can perhaps try to just upgrade, or to just buy the good potion, the aggressive potion, to get through the elites. And our first elite is Gremlin Nob, rewarding us for being aggressive with our card choices. So, not drawing the bash here, but our deck is so small, we're always drawing it next turn. And you can see this Hemo is doing so much damage. And this is actually very funny. This Gremlin Nob is going to be harder than the high Ascension one here. There is a Ascension mod towards the higher difficulties. That's something like their abilities are, used more correctly, I suppose. So Gremlin Nob will always buff on turn 1, then vulnerable you on turn 2, and then do big hits. But in this case, it's actually hitting us for a lot before we get vulnerable. And that is actually worse for us here, because we're probably killing on turn 3. So the goal is to kill Gremlin Nob on turn 3. And so choosing not to play a skill here, I'll just bash strike. So normally on high Ascension I'd be taking 8 damage right here and getting vulnerable, and then it would be hitting me for 24 right now instead of a 16. But in this case I am killing, and that's sort of the line you want to take against Gremlin Nob. Just try to kill it on turn 3 before it hits you for the huge amount. So actually, that fight was genuinely harder on lower difficulty. Very, very strange. But still fine, only took 8 more damage than I normally would have. And something to note about the rare chances while we're here. Every time, this is getting a little bit in the weeds, but the run starts and you have a -2% chance to see a rare. And then every time you see an uncommon in a card reward screen, your chance to see a rare goes up by 1%. And elites have an additional 10% chance to see rares. And so now we have Corruption versus Feed. Feed, arguably the best Ironclad card in general. It is just so strong. The ability to gain permanent strength from the fight. Normally you would just gain a card reward and gold, as you always do, but this is something additional. And even though it's just max health, which you can comfortably trade away in a lot of situations, the fact that you're getting it for basically free is so strong. And you can see this, if fatal, as a huge downside to the card, because it can be rather hard to kind of finagle that. But as you get better at the game, you can work out ways to do that easily. Or a bit more consistently, rather. Corruption is here, also among the strongest cards. that Ironclad has, although this one can be a bit tricky. It is a card that you can accidentally kind of brick your deck by playing all of your skills too fast, and suddenly you have no more gas. But definitely one of the stronger cards if you are using it correctly. At this point in the run, though, we don't really have any skills that are working with it, and it's a bit slow. And Feed is here. If it was against nothing, I would perhaps take a Speculative Corruption. But since Feed is here, no reason to take it. And Anger is also here. Anger would probably be better than Corruption at this point in the run. I do have a Pommel Strike, and I do have a Ornamental Fan. So Anger would just give me some more immediate power and help us get through this act very comfortably. It is notably bad against the Guardian, though. Anger is a bad card to play against the Guardian, because the more Angers you have, the more Angers you may draw on the defensive stance turns where you can't really play attacks comfortably, so that's worth noting as well. But yeah, without further ado, I'll be clicking on this Feed. Definitely a great card. And that card is so good that I'm now considering taking 2 more hallways just to feed more. It is a little bit riskier, but I think that's fine. So I'm going to go this way. And Tiny Chest is here. It says every 4th question mark room is a treasure room. This is pretty interesting. Not to say it is always bad in every single situation, but if you're talking on average speculative, then Tiny Chest is definitely often negative to have. First of all, let's say for example right now we have a feed. It's not even necessarily true that you always want every room to be a treasure room, even if there is no downside to that. Maybe you just want other events to happen. There's definitely certain events that are better than finding a chest. Apparitions, Mind Bloom, Thwack, all that stuff. And this room forcing it to be a treasure room is actually sometimes bad. Additionally, there's a relic called Cursed Key, the boss relic that says whenever you open a chest, get a curse in your deck. And if you have that relic, you want to actively avoid clicking on chests, making this relic actually strictly bad to have. It makes question marks worse. So this is a relic that if you are trying to kill the heart, you should consider you taking the key instead. It won't give you much benefit, and also you shouldn't think of it as like every question mark is 1/4 of a relic, because it either is or it isn't a relic, you know? The power from the first 3 question marks are not actually real. And, of course, the relic could be bad that you're getting. So definitely would like to key this. I'm not sure that I should key in this run if I'm not killing the heart, but maybe I will kill the heart, so I'll just click on that. Haven't really thought that through. And on we go. And Hemokinesis upgraded with Akabeko is dealing 28 damage. Didn't actually mention Akabeko, apologies. It says your first attack each combat deals 8 additional damage. And that does scale with if you have a multi-hit attack, then every hit will also deal that 8 additional damage. So very good with stuff like Whirlwind, Pummel, Sword Boomerang, stuff like that. And so here we are against the Fungi Beasts. We have the Spore Cloud, says on death applies 2 vulnerable to me. And they are also buffing their strength right now, up to 5 strength. They do 6 base damage. It'll go up to 11 when they get buffed, and then it'll be 16 damage if I'm vulnerable. And so basically you want to be hitting the one that's buffing so that you may kill it when on the next turn when the other one's buffing. That way you can avoid taking damage at all costs. And so this fight with only 2 of them is pretty tame. They don't have that much health. And so I can Hemo this one, bash this one, and prepare to kill it next turn. And I can Pommel to draw my feed, and we get to feed. So a good fight. Definitely happy about that. Unfortunately didn't get to upgrade my feed with armaments, but is what it is. And 3 common attacks here. So this is sort of a nightmare card reward at some points of the run. It's still early enough that it's not too bad. And we have some good ones here. Heavy Blade kind of sucks. It can be a good card if you have a lot of strength, but if you do have a lot of strength, you might not even need any particular damage card because you might just be able to play whatever attack, and it's going to be good enough. But also, there are simply better ways to scale strength. The 1-cost cards that hit multiple times, basically achieve the same thing. Heavy Blade is just a bit clunky in general, but it can be taken in a pinch if you have a lot of strength and need a way to scale it. Also better with Snecko Eye than the 1-cost cards, I suppose. But then we have two pretty good attack commons here. Clothesline, do not sleep on that. It applies 2 weak, and by default, Ironclad cannot apply weak. So this card sort of does 12 damage and blocks for you as well. Definitely a solid attack, not to be slept on. However, we have a Headbutt here, and Headbutt is a premium attack common. It does 9, basically a strike plus, and it gives you deck manipulation, allowing you to put a card from your discard pile on top of your draw pile. And so this can help us a lot if we happen to draw Feed on the wrong turn. We can Headbutt it back on top when we want to kill, and otherwise can put Hemokinesis back on top, deal more damage, etc, etc. So just gives you a lot of flexibility, and as well as just being a good attack. So we're going to be clicking on that for sure. And time to go to our next fight. So here's the Gremlin gang I was referring to in the beginning. Very scary fight. And we got 2 angry gremlins, or mad gremlins as it is. And these are, if you attack them and they receive unblocked damage, they will gain strength. This actually goes up to 2 strength on higher difficulties. And then we have the sneaky gremlin. This guy is pretty weak health-wise, but always hits you for a lot, so generally you want to kill him first. Only if there's something more pressing, like the fat gremlin, which debuffs you hitting you, will you want to avoid killing this guy. And this fight is so scary, I might even consider using an attack potion here. But this is always happening, I think, so I'm just going to do this. And could consider double defend here. Could headbutt strike and proc the ornamental fan. Chemokinesis is doing a little bit too little damage to kill one of these, which is kind of a shame. I think I will use this. And I should have clicked this before using my attack, because this could have been something like Whirlwind, and I would have loved to have the Akabeko still, so actually making a pretty significant mistake here. But Headbutt is here. Sure. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Kill the Shield Gremlin while I can. And Headbutt, unfortunately, is going to get a strike back on top. It happens. And then this will proc Ornamental Fan, and then I can defend and play, or take 1 damage. Not too bad. And then here I get to Pommel. Druid Armaments, which is good. That will let me take no damage here. Upgrade a Headbutt, short. And I get to upgrade my Feed. Very nice. Take 1 here, but that's fine. I actually shouldn't, I just should not have played that Bash. Another mistake, for sure. Now I can't full block with Defend anymore. So a little bit of a whoops there, took a little bit more damage than I needed to. So definitely not playing that fight well. Made 2 mistakes there, for sure. And another 3 attack common card reward here. Definitely not a fan of that. We do have Sword Boomerang here, which does work with Akabeko, but the odds of me drawing it as in my opening hand are not necessarily high, especially as the run goes on. So not super excited about this one, but it might just be the best pick anyway. This could also be skip. Once you have 1, 2, 3 common attacks already that are, or attacks that are solid, you may not need more. Maybe like 3 to 5 is sort of the number. There's also a Cleave here, and Cleave does area of effect damage. And that would be pretty helpful in some fights, but Cleave is just not the card you're looking for. It's not quite enough. If you're trying to solve Slavers or something like that, you may need a bit more help than just 1 Cleave, making it sort of whatever. So, not excited about any of these. I don't love the second Headbutt either. I may take Sword Boomerang, or I may skip. I think those are my top choices. Skipping is definitely a real choice, and totally fine to do. Yeah, I don't like adding another attack here. I don't have any block cards. I think I'm just going to skip. It's fine. can go this way. Another area of effect fight. So already missing that cleave, but that's fine. And another strange example of the lower ascension rules actually making the fight harder. This slime would never be attacking me on turn 1 if this was higher difficulty. It always debuffs you and then attacks. And so in this case, we're taking 4 more than I otherwise normally would. Pretty interesting. So I can strike this one, armaments, upgrade headbutt, and kill this one. The armaments back just in case I draw a feed. So yeah, would have only taken 1 here on Ascension 20, but instead we took more. Very fascinating. Upgrade strike, and attack this one, this one. Not much to say there. Full block and play the strike. And not going to get too greedy here for the... Actually, maybe I will. The emo can go here. Let's pommel strike this guy first. Okay, I didn't draw armaments, so I can chill here for sure. Strike this guy, and then this guy's only going to hit me every other turn. So hoping to upgrade the feed with armaments, and then if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It happens. Yep, doesn't seem to be working out here. That's fine. We'll get our max health there and get out. And we have some very interesting choices here. Berserk is a card that I personally am very, very low on. I think it's complete trash. It's the gain 2 vulnerable clause that really is a tough sell. Giving yourself 2 vulnerable is very bad. It makes you take a lot of damage, and gaining energy at the start of your turn is pretty good and all. But you have to draw the card, you have to play the card, you have to give yourself vulnerable, and then all you do is get an energy. It's really, really bad. It's a card you almost never want to click on. You have to be in a very specific situation to even consider clicking it, and even then it's not going to be the best card in your deck or anything. So, if you're a newer player looking to win, I would say just simply don't click Berserk and you will win more often. Then Combust is here, an interesting choice. It does some area of effect damage as well. Has some synergies with damaging yourself, with cards like Rupture, which say gain 1 strength whenever you take damage from a card, and stuff like that, but it's a little bit unexciting here. We don't have any of that. We've already made it all the way through Act 1, and we're going to need a little bit more than this going through the rest of the game. Can be very good against fights that have minions, such as Gremlin Leader. The fact that it keeps doing damage over and over can be quite helpful. But other than that, can be a bit tough of a sell. And Clash is here, complete trash, basically unplayable. You will almost never have only attacks in your hand, and even if you do, it's just a lot of damage for 0. Not going to win you the run by itself or anything. So, some tough picks here. I think it's Combust or Skip. And I don't love Combust here. It also makes feed awkward because you might not be able to control that you're doing damage at the end of each turn and then wait for the feed. So yeah, I'm going to skip yet again. Definitely not loving the card rewards here. And another chest. So another reason why Tiny Chest is not as great, you can always just get a chest anyway. So what's the point? And we have Oddly Smooth Stone giving us a 1 dexterity. Pretty good relic, of course. And we go to our next elite here. No potions, a little bit awkward. And a pretty good roll on the Sentry's health. I think they can go from 39 to 45 health each. So these are rather good rolls. I'll be attacking this one for sure. And no need to bash here because they have artifact charges preventing the first debuff we apply. So it would just do less damage. There is our feed. Sadly, yet again, not drawing armaments alongside it. I can, however, pommel strike, and it's a 50-50 chance to hit it. and then I can armaments feed and upgrade, so probably playing this anyway. I'd like to get the hemo back though. Do I kill this next turn if I get the hemo back? If I headbutt this, 32, play hemo, I'll need to draw strike. It's very unlikely. I am going to go for it then. Got there. Pretty good turn. Already at 94 max health, you can see the power. Kill this one, hoping to draw something like strike next turn. Would be nice. Very good. And I can put a hemo back on top as well. Doesn't matter what I play here. Alternatively, I could put block card back on top. There's a little bit of like a bug, I think, where you can't click your draw pile while you're in this screen. But if you press A, it'll let you. Very strange. So we have Pommel Strike, Defend in our deck. Might need a little bit more block, so I'll be clicking Armaments instead then, I suppose. Or Defend Plus, just in case we don't even draw the other Defend. Sure. So now we're always taking maximum 2 damage next turn. Okay. I'm going to take 1 to play this strike. I think that's pretty reasonable. And could get out right now. Take 2. That seems correct. Could consider, like, maybe I can draw Bash Pommel or whatever, but if you draw like 4 dazes and a defend, then you're just taking more damage than it's worth. So I will just get out. It's fine. No problem. And we find a potion belt, giving us 2 additional potion slots. Now up to 5 potion slots. That's very wild. And we have some cards here. Dark Embrace. Debatably one of the strongest cards in the entire game, in a vacuum. Whenever a card is exhausted to draw a card, it is very easy to exhaust a large number of cards as Ironclad. And an insane combo with Corruption, where every time you play any skill, you'll be exhausting it. And they all cost 0, so you can just play your whole deck. That's the most obvious use for it. There's also the second wind we saw earlier, which exhausts every non-attack card in your hand. And yeah, overall, it's just a very, very strong card. Love to see it. And we're going into Guardian here with no block cards in our deck. I don't think we were presented any, other than Armaments. So a little bit sus, but we do have the Armaments to upgrade our defense and a pretty small deck, so hopefully we can just get there. But I will be clicking the Speculative Dark Embrace for later. And then I'll probably just upgrade Armaments to make sure all of my cards get upgraded. May not be correct, but I think it's fine. Not much else that's better to upgrade here, I have to say. I'm going to play Headbutt first. I don't want to get Strike back. And we need this number to reach 0. It's going to be gaining 9 block on turn 2 and then hit us for 36. So hopefully we can draw Hemokinesis here if we need it. And let's see, does Bash plus Pommel do 21? It does not. So I think the line here is to Armaments the Pommel, so it draws 2 cards, and then hope that Hemo is not the bottom card. Otherwise we're taking a big 36. And we got there. Just defend, and here I can take 2 damage from Jardian to play a Hemo. Well, we do have to kill it eventually. But I think I can just chill for now. And ouch! Not a great turn here. Want to draw the Armaments, so playing Pommel will take... Oh, it's actually 3 damage. This goes to 4 later on. So I will take 3 to draw the Armaments, which blocks for 5. So gaining 2 overall, and then I can play Dark Embrace. Get it out of my deck. And I keep forgetting about this number of oddly smooth stone. So sometimes I'm saying the wrong block number, 1 less than it actually is. My apologies. And here's where having that clothesline would have been very nice. Very nice. But we have to get through this big damage again, and you can see the power of hemokinesis here. Without this hemo, we would just simply not have enough damage. And I am keeping feet around, a bit greedy, but that's fine. And I can apply vulnerable here, but it's about to go into defensive stance again. So I'd rather just do the damage. And I can draw these two cards because I'm not going to want them next turn. And no need to play more attack, it has 20 block. I block. Getting to upgrade 2 defense is rather huge. Hoping to draw defend, defend, defend here. So it's getting a little bit scary now. We are getting pretty low here, and hemo dealing 2 to us is actually starting to matter. Bit scary. Yet again, hemo headbutt. It's gonna get there. Hopefully drawing bash here will be very good. Yet again, bash is bottom 2. Yikes. So, gonna get it as close to splitting as possible, and then hemos to do maximum damage. Defensive stance again. And squeeze in the attack there. Oof. And here's a bit tricky. We can either take as little damage as possible, or we can apply bash right now. And if we bash and we draw Pummel Strike next turn, so the nightmare here is that actually there's no nightmare, because we either draw the Pummel Strike or we're drawing 3 defense and then full blocking the 20 damage. So I can always do this. This is fine. And I think I do just wanna... I can take down to 1 health here. Or no, down to 3 health. And then let's do this. See if I draw a feed. I don't. So I'm gonna go down to 3 health on purpose. I could kill right now, but I held this feed all fight, and I'm not letting that get away. Next turn is just a simple shielding turn, so no worries. And we get there eventually, so that 2 health that I spent ends up getting regained. That's totally fine. So, by the skin of our teeth, we make it through Guardian. And that was despite having no block cards or anything like that, and being a little bit greedy as well. And then our rares here, Juggernaut is here. It says whenever you gain block, do something good. We're not gaining that much block, so perhaps not very good here. But we do have Oddly Smooth Stone, making block cards in general a little bit better than normal for us. So that's something to consider. Limit Break, completely out of the question here. We have no strength at all. You do not want to be clicking on Speculative Limit Break. It's not even that good when you do have strength. It can be a bit tough to draw all the cards that gain you strength and then Limit Break for a meaningful amount. Definitely a card that is very easy to overrate. Although it's a very cool card. Definitely feels very fun to play. Upgrading it and gaining infinite strength is very cool, but it's very slow. Definitely a bit of a niche card. And Immolate is here, a very strong area of effect attack. I did mention earlier you want something like for Slavers to some big damage here. And we do have Akabeko as well, so it's our first attack. It'll do 29 or even 36 when upgraded. So very good card here. Very nice front-loaded damage attack. I did say we have enough damage, but this card is so good for damage that you want to just throw it in there. And yeah, I would say very clearly Immolate here. Juggernaut could be good later on, but just looking to get through Act 2 comfortably, so I'll take this Immolate and move on. And then now we have our boss relic here. We have Philosopher's Stone. It's a 4th energy relic with the downside of all enemies start combat with 1 strength. Very scary downside, but only really bad in the fights where the enemy is hitting you multiple times at once, or if there's multiple different enemies. And even in those cases, you can deal with the 1 strength. So this is one of the more consistent solid 4th energy relics to be sure. There's also a Sacred Bark here. Double the effectiveness of potions. And that sounds really good when we have a potion belt, but currently we don't have any good potions. We have Artifact, and just one Artifact is normally enough for the fights where it matters. So this is currently doing absolutely nothing for us. Could be good later on, of course. But Sacred Bark is a bit rough. It doesn't even work for some potions if it doesn't make sense to double the effect. And just definitely not great sometimes, so I'm not feeling great about the Sacred Bark here. If you had something like a way to generate a lot of potions, then Sacred Bark gets better, like Silent has Alchemize, or if there's the Relic of White Beast statue, then that can be quite good as well. Worth considering. But right now we don't have any of that, simply have a potion belt for more slots, and on the lower ascensions, the 3 potion slots are plenty already, so just going to skip that one. And we have Mark of Pain, another 4th energy relic, unique to Ironclad. At the start of combat, shuffle 2 wounds into your draw pile. And unfortunately, the wounds are really, really terrible. We also have a very small deck, making them matter more because we are going to draw them more often. Of course, if you had a 1,000 card deck, then 2 wounds in it would basically do nothing. Almost no downside. But if you had a 5 card deck and then you shuffle 2 wounds into it, suddenly those wounds are very, very destructive. And that's a spectrum, of course, that every deck lies on somewhere. Right now we have 14 cards, so that could be a significant drawback for us. And so I'm going to be clicking on Philosopher's Stone here as a 4th energy relic and move on. And into Act 2 with 98 health. We are regaining 75% of our missing health there. And we have another look at the path here. So again, the early question marks are pretty good. The Act 2 hallway fights are really brutal, even the easy ones, quote unquote. So question marks can be more desirable. There's also something to mention that one of the events is a huge benefit if you have Golden Idol from Act 1. And if you don't have Golden Idol, that event becomes very bad. And so you should value question marks in Act 2 much higher if you have Golden Idol. We don't have Golden Idol, so it's actually a bit scary if we find that one event. Basically always giving you a curse or taking a lot of damage. And shop would be okay here. We do have some gold, but I don't really want to take this other fight here. So probably just going to go this way. Is there a shop later? There is here. But then I can't take this elite. So not a great act. Don't want to go this way for that shop either. Just a few too many hallway fights this way for my liking. We do have a feed though, so maybe I should be considering the fights a bit more. Could go that way, and then this elite. It just looks very scary. There's no campfire either. And I'd love to upgrade the feed here or rest if I need to. So maybe this way is the best way. In fact, feed makes hallway fights better because you're gaining something permanent from them, in addition to the normal goodness. So something like this seems fine. And then it can go either way here. Sometimes might want the campfire, sometimes might want the question mark. And yeah, so we have just some good mix of events that are hard, like fights, but gives power, and then some safer events, campfire before the elite. Very nice. So happy with this route, I think. Definitely could also go this way. I'm really not sure. Obviously depends on what the events are, but we'll figure it out. Dark Embrace is an excellent card against the Chosen, who will normally make us shuffle dazes into our draw pile when we play non-attack cards. But another case of early acts or early ascension levels causing the fight to be harder, perhaps. Normally, the Chosen is always applying the Hex debuff to you on turn 1, which causes you to do this thing with the dazes. But here we're being attacked, and therefore taking more damage. Not complaining about not getting hexed, though. So Pommel Strike first, see what I draw. Emo's here. Still just gonna Dark Embrace defend. And now we're getting hexed. So I can upgrade my armor or my bash. That also hitting the feed there is very nice. Now we're being weakened. To just reshuffle. So I'm playing armaments there to get it back. Block more. But actually, I don't need to because it's dead. Does bash, strike, feed do enough? That's 11, 17, 13, exact lethal. Pretty nice. And we get our health and get out. So some people might be wondering why not use an artifact potion there. It's applying a debuff to you, just not significant enough of a debuff. And in fact, with Dark Embrace, the dazes are not even really bad. They will exhaust and then draw you cards for your next turn. So not too bad. And here we have some more attacks. We have Uppercut and Perfected Strikes back. Definitely a little bit past its prime at this point. We've removed too many strikes. We no longer need the damage that badly. It is unpickable at this point. Searing Blow is also complete trash. If you want to have some fun, you can try taking a Searing Blow and only upgrading it for the whole run. It's definitely funny, but a card that if you're trying to win, you should almost never click. And we have Uppercuts, a very solid, uncommon attack here. Deal 13 and applies both weak and vulnerable, and upgrades to apply 2 of each of those, which is a very, very significant upgrade. We do have armaments to upgrade it, so that's pretty interesting. And just for a way to apply a weaken, and we have 4 energy as well, I think I will be clicking on this Uppercut despite having a good amount of attacks already. And now we go to a shop, I suppose. Sure. Since there's no other shop later in the act that I want to take, that's the main reason I'm taking this one. Card move is obvious. We cannot afford any of the really good relics here, sadly. And Spoon is just not really amazing here. In fact, negative for us, because we want cards to exhaust so that Dark Embrace draws a card from them. And Shrug is here as a decent card. Buying Shrug is a bit questionable, usually just not quite worth the gold as just a good common, but it's on sale here and not much else, so we may click that after all. We also don't really have much block here, and armaments can upgrade it to deal 11 block, which is quite good. So I'll click on that. There's also still a True Grit here, and I have Dark Embrace, so I'll probably click that as well. At this point, armaments hitting my whole hand could perhaps upgrade the True Grit more reliably, and I would like some synergy with this Dark Embrace that I now have. So the last time I skipped True Grit, I did not have a Dark Embrace. It's still definitely a bit questionable to buy this one, considering it costs gold. Gold is rather valuable, and so you don't want to just be like, oh, that's pretty good, I'll buy it. And you want to really consider what you're clicking on in the shops here. But True Grit, I think, is just good enough, so I'll buy that. And card move. And then lastly, we can consider buying a potion. We do have Flex Pot here yet again, but we don't have any way to scale the strength. No sword boomerang clicked or anything like that from earlier, which is totally fine. And there's a block pot. Basically, do I want to spend 48 health or 48 gold for 12 health? I don't think so, so I think I'm good. And now we have Looters hitting us for 12 instead of 11 due to our Philosopher's Stone betraying us. That's fine. So I'm gonna just play this and hope it doesn't hit feed. It hit feed, so now I can just play strike, whatever. No problem. And so this is gonna do 31 if it is vulnerable. So sadly, I cannot kill the right one here. I'll just bash Immolate. It's fine. Take 12. This fight's always gonna hit you rather hard, generally speaking. So, bit of a shame. Pommel Strike being at the bottom here is actually rather sad. But Shrug is in my deck. So, how do I feed? I can just... So I can headbutt. This is actually bending my mind. Because I also want, wait, oh no, I exhausted feed. Okay, I'm thinking about this for no reason. Whoops, apologies. So headbutt for immolate. Draw immolate, play immolate. Okay, good fight. Yeah, I was thinking about how to feed and it wasn't even in my deck. Foolish. So, 3 attack commons yet again. We have Thunderclap, a card I've been valuing higher than most people lately. It's just an attack common, but it does apply 1 vulnerable to everything, so strips artifact charges. Is a cheap way to apply vulnerable, and synergizes pretty well with like Immolate, for example, if you draw them at the same time, but that's a bit of a tall order sometimes. And overall, it's a solid card, but not one you should be super excited about, I think. Iron Wave is just an attack common as well. It gains you block, as opposed to doing more damage. Can be fine in the early game, but at this point, it's a little bit not great. Although it does synergize with Oddly Smooth Stones. It's actually 6 block. But still, just not quite enticing enough. And then Pommel Strike Plus is here, drawing 2 cards. I mean, clearly that's the best card here. And I will be clicking on that. Just some more solid draw here. Still not really finding much block. Our only block coming from the store so far. So something like a Flame Barrier would be great. And of course, Feel No Pain. The power that gains block when we exhaust cards is premium. So Pommel Strikes here. I did take something over Metallicize earlier, I believe, and that could have been very useful here, but of course that's hindsight is 2020 moment. And we have the library here. Very good event. We could heal to full health or add a card. Normally you'll be picking add a card here. Add a card is so good. There's just so many options. But in a pinch, if you ever need to heal, you can choose to sleep instead. But I would say 95% of the time, plus you're clicking choose a card here. And so we got some good choices here. Spot Weakness is a pretty good card that gains strength. If the enemy intends to attack clause is actually pretty harmless, as you are often getting attacked in this game. The game really wants to kill you. There's a Whirlwind that synergizes with our Akabeko, but we already have an Immolate, so perhaps unnecessary. We do also have Sentinel, which could be a good card, but we don't really have ways to exhaust other than True Grit, which may not be upgraded. And Burning Pact is here, very, very good. So now we have Dark Embrace in our deck, we have a 4th Energy. This Burning Pact is looking a lot more reasonable. And there's Battle Trance as well, which draws. There's a Bloodletting for some more energy. Quite a lot of good choices here, and really couldn't fault you for taking any of them. I'm going to be clicking on the Burning Pact here. As also, we do have armaments, so the more cards we can get into our hand at once, the more we can upgrade all of them, which is pretty cool as well. And our first hard fight, we have the same enemy we fought earlier, the Chosen here, but we also have a bird alongside it, so getting much more difficult here. So definitely want to kill the bird pretty quickly. Bird is going to hit us pretty hard soon. And we have no block in our hand. So I would like to play this uppercut on the Chosen, so I can weaken it and therefore take less damage. So I'm going to Pommel Strike the bird, break Akabeko. And then now I can even do this, which blocks and upgrades uppercuts, and play uppercut on the Chosen. Take 4. That seems fine. And we don't have a way to play a bunch of attacks in one turn to break the bird here, so we kind of just have to raw dog this bird. And once again, I'm probably breaking this feed, which is unfortunate. So the bird will take 11 from the Immolate. Fine. And once again, not really caring too much about getting hexed here. Can't play Dark Embrace though, which is a little bit awkward. Kind of the main reason we don't care about it. And so here we're taking 25 damage. And I do have the option to play Uppercut here and then Dupe Pot on this Emo in order to do exactly enough damage here. But not super interested in wasting a Dupe Pot here just to take 18 less damage. Dupe Pot has so much potential. It can basically one-shot Slavers with Immolate. So yeah, I'll be saving this. Maybe I can even draw a block card here. There it is. Gotta play this Immolate so I can get there. Need to get out before it hits me again. Uh-oh. Get rid of Dark Embrace. I mean, Haste is better, obviously. Oh. Ow. Well, this could have gone better. Oh. We are doing this. It seems. Take 12. So, saving the Dupe Pot, costing me quite a lot of health here, sadly. But I think it's still correct. Alright, so we have another Armaments. Definitely not as good as the first one. You already... It's basically just a defend in your deck that doesn't even upgrade to block for more. So if you are not needing more upgrade in your deck, then second Armaments can be very awkward. And definitely a card that you would almost never want a second copy of. We have a Cleave, for the same reason as earlier I'm not clicking on Cleave, just a kind of a mid-attack common that we no longer need. And a Seeing Red is here. Some good energy gain and combos very well with Dark Embrace, drawing us a card. Definitely clicking on Seeing Red here. Very happy about that. And here we go into a campfire. We have a lot of potions. Speed Potion can be good to kind of block for a lot in a turn. And we would love to upgrade a Dark Embrace, a Seeing Red, a True Grit. But really, I think the most important is Immolate. Now we have Dupe Pot as well. Basically, that's representing 14 damage in one upgrade, which is so much. So I'm going to click this, and the thing is you have to respect Slavers so much. Slavers will just kill you, hitting you for like 30 on turn 1. So you have to be able to deal with them. We go into our first elite, and it is instead Gremlin Leader. So I can Armaments, which upgrades Dark Embrace and Seeing Red, draw a card. And it is hitting us, which is a bit sad. So I can block. And bit of a tough choice to kill the Wizard, which in 3 turns will do like 30 damage to us, or the one that's hitting us for 6 right now. But considering I have the Immolate in my deck, I think I can just choose to kill this one. And I'll strike. Immolate's going to kill this guy, probably. I'll strike the Gremlin Leader. Uppercut and then Immolate, deal 42 to Gremlin Leader. And it's going to make more minions here, and I don't have Immolate anymore, so that's pretty awkward. But here, Headbutt coming in handy. And simply Headbutt the Immolate back on top. And then my choice between Burning Pact to get rid of a card, or just Shrug to draw a card. In this case, I'm thinking just Shrug. I'm not interested in exhausting any of these, really. So the power of Headbutt definitely coming into play here. And oof, we're being attacked. But once again, Immolate. Oh my god! I meant to bash first. Whoops! Alright, so that was not a decision, that was a misclick. I'll be using the Speed Potion here to gain some health. We don't save scum on this channel. Sometimes you'll misclick and you can still win. Armaments in here, nope. I could draw it though. There it is. Like feed. Okay, so accidentally had to waste a potion and took more damage than I should have. But we made it through. And we have some good choices here. True Grit Plus is here. And another copy of Dark Embrace is here. Dark Embrace, a little bit greedy here, perhaps, to click on. And True Grit Plus is here, which is a pretty good card. So I'll probably take the True Grit Plus over the second Dark Embrace. Our deck's small enough that we will find the Dark Embrace pretty consistently already. And a second unupgraded Dark Embrace can be a bit slow. Of course, it is an insane card, but I'm just not feeling it here. So I'll take the True Grit Plus. And Bottled Lightning is here. Do I want any of these skills to always start in my opening hands? Burning Pact is probably the closest to a definite yes. Just drawing me towards my good cards faster. So I'll do that, and hopefully I can upgrade the Burning Pact at some point. And so suddenly I'm not so interested in going to this fight. I'm at 34, that's pretty scary. And perhaps not even this elite. Maybe I go this way instead. So definitely you want to keep your mind open if you make a mistake, or the fights just simply don't go as well as you had hoped, then you don't necessarily have to take, the same path that you're going to. The most value path, you can instead take the safer path. So I'm going to definitely go this way and see what happens. This is interesting. It's only a 50% chance to get cursed. I'm going to go with the spirit that I always take on higher ascension. It's 100% chance to receive a ride on higher ascensions. I'm not going to gamble, I'm just going to leave. So a bad event there. And Happy Flower is fine, giving us 1 energy every 3 turns. Not too bad. And so if I go to this elite, I would probably go to this elite as well, and there would be no campfire in between. Very scary. If I'm not drawing Immolate on turn 1 against Slavers, I might just die immediately. So I am going to go left here and hopefully get through this fight relatively unscathed, and then kill the elite after resting. Bash first is better than Akabekkoing the Immolate, of course. That's some good damage. And we are getting confused by the Snecko here. With our deck, it's not too bad to get confused, I think. So yet again, not using Artifact Pot, although this was a good opportunity for it, for sure. And it didn't matter, we got there. Could draw armaments, didn't, that's fine. So, not too bad there. And Feel No Pain is here to save us. An excellent card. And it's even upgraded for some reason. Something like upgrades occurring more often on lower ascension. Definitely seems to be true here. And Shockwave is also here, another very, very strong card. Worked great with Immolate to apply vulnerable to everything. For basically the whole fight, so that Immolate's doing a lot. And Weaken as well. And synergizes with Dark Embrace. So, would love to take both of these cards at once, but only can get one. Definitely going to be the Feel No Pain here. And I can rest. And Book of Stabbing is a bit tougher than normal with the Philosopher's Stone, giving it extra strength. And here's an example of the card opening hand thing not being amazing. I'm not interested in playing Burning Pact on this turn. So, that's okay. And this is a great looking hand. I don't have Dark Embrace in play yet, though. Full blocking there. And really need to draw this Dark Embrace. It's not quite happening. There it is. But Immolate's here, and it might be more pressing to deal this 42 damage now, which is a bit sad. I could even duplicate it right now if I think I'm not getting there. And then I can always just feed next turn. I'm definitely kind of digging that. I may not draw any more damage, though. It would be at... If I True Grit, it would be at 13 health. 13 health. And then feed might not actually get over the finish line if I don't draw any attacks. But what are the odds that I don't draw an attack? And then worst case scenario, of course, I can just play the Hemokinesis to kill instead. So let's dupe pot our Immolate finally, which we were saving for slavers. But in this case, no more elites, so no more slavers. That's fine. And sadly, drawing a burn from our Immolates. So no feed for us. That's okay. And we find an anchor. Start each combat with 10 block. That means 10 block on turn 1 only. Very strong relic. Shoring up your turn 1 is very, very good. If your turn 1s are a bit awkward, then having that block is so good. This is one of the best relics in the game for sure. And it's at common. So very happy about that. We have a Havoc here. Play the top card of your draw pile and exhaust it. Sounds like it could be good with Feel No Pain and Dark Embrace and a Headbutt in our deck. Put something on top. But it's just not super desirable of an effect doing this. So I'm not particularly interested in a Havoc right now. And we have a Perfected Strike yet again. Not clicking on that. And Armaments is here. Definitely also not taking another one of those, so bad card reward's gonna skip that. And here, we really need something against this champ. This champ fight is looking a bit sus right now. So, hoping to take these events, which have more potential power than just a campfire here, and try to find something rather good here. Here is Immolate, and already Anchor is cooking. Blocking for 10 here. Basically blocking for 9. An excellent relic already. Doing more than many relics would. And again, we're full blocking here because the Ascender's Bane will block for us. Centurion first, because if you kill the Mystic first, which seemed like the obvious line, Centurion will enrage, and then he'll have 80 health you have to get through while hitting you rather hard. So it's generally correct to kill Centurion first. And we do have Immolate coming up again soon-ish. But I think it's still correct to just kind of YOLO this one. It is going to get healed by the Mystic, probably. Not that turn. And I can Armaments feed on it, so I'm going to do that over playing Immolate for sure. Now Burning Pact actually doing something finally. There it is. Burning Pact will only get better. Attack my Pommel Strike, so I can play it again next turn. Draw more cards and play more attacks. Very good fight. Another Feel No Pain. Or Battle Trance. So none of these cards particularly helping me very much with killing Champ, unfortunately. So I'll click on Feel No Pain and hope. Just hope. And we have this guy, Designer in Spire. And this is a pretty good event. We can upgrade a card, we can remove a card, or we can remove a card and upgrade our random card. And yeah, this champ fight is very sus. I could just die to this champ very, very easily, so. I don't have any scaling at all, and we're gonna have to find a way to finagle this one. So I'm just gonna... I mean, I guess it's fine to click this, just in case. Move a strike. Upgrade and defend, short. And then going into this, definitely want to upgrade. Guess uppercut, short. Or no, I guess my Burning Pact that I have bottled. Seems good. And so this is where it gets a little awkward because I also can't exhaust that many cards. I'm going to run out of cards to exhaust eventually. So this fight is going to be tough. Just gonna point attacks at him. And Ornamental Fan getting in there as well. So going to avoid exhausting cards until I'm getting to the point where he's splitting. That way I have more gas. And oof, that's a bad hand. Uppercut. Dark Embrace, defend. Play the Seeing Red. Now I can. So, like, if you're doing this champ fight, you have to understand that this first phase of champ is just not a thing. You have to save everything for second phase if you don't have a way to get there. So I'm just basically doing as much damage as I can right now while not like spending any of my really valuable stuff yet. And like I don't want to True Grit this Burning Pact, it's very awkward. I don't want to get rid of Uppercut either. I'm just gonna do this. Take some damage. It kind of looks weird what I'm doing, but I don't doubt myself at all right now. This is like the only way to win. Get rid of a defend, that's fine. Play bash, set up for next turn. Here, feeding is very ambitious. I'm just going to play this. And I can True Grit a True Grit. I don't think I want two of them. It's a bit much on the block. That's true. Now I'm getting weakened, I believe. I can finally upgrade this uppercuts, thank goodness. And so once you get it below half health, it'll split. And I really don't want to split while I am weakened. That would be a bit tough. So get it as low as I can, and then luckily drawing a defend here I can exhaust. Kind of craft my final draw pile the way I want it to be. Can't play any attacks here, because it'll split. I can get rid of armaments now, probably. And defend is here. I don't have another way to exhaust that, but that's okay. Now we're getting hit for 33. Ouch. But we still have a lot of gas. Still not interested in splitting here. So I will be playing defend and passing, I guess. Play True Grit on what? Immolate might be necessary for the damage. But it also makes a burn, which is pretty bad. But making the burns can actually be good for more stuff to exhaust, interestingly. So, not sure here. Really not sure here. Maybe one Pommel Strike is fine. Okay. Next turn I'll have Happy Flower once again. So then I can do the thing. Now we're frail. So it is going to weaken us here again, but we have this one turn to kind of get in there a little bit. Bash. Uppercut Hemo, and I can even Artifact Pot, definitely not taking any chances here. This is my last hurrah here. Now it's splitting. Next turn will be hitting us for 66. And also cleansing all of its debuffs. Oh, actually 68, because I have Philosopher's Stone. Okay. So we do have this elixir as well, which each card we exhaust will block for 8, which is pretty strong. So I can Burning Pact, burn to start. True Grit will block for a lot. So definitely can't kill here, of course. That's too much health. But perhaps we can make our way out some other way. True Grit blocks for 18 up to 26. Then this is for 38. And then I need to get to how much block? 69 health. It's 44 block. So I'm already at 8. This is up to 26, 38, 47. And then I'm living. Then I can't play Hemo anymore. So I should Shrug first and exhaust Hemo. I can play Shrug again. Okay, living. And now we're taking 46. But we have 5 energy this turn. Maybe I can kill. So uppercut, immolate, pommel. It's 13, 55, 70. But not quite yet again. Shrug yet again. Gonna get rid of Bash here. Shrug. Get rid of Bend. Okay. And 40 damage. Oof. We're almost out of cards here. I think I need to play this uppercut now. It just has to happen. So what if I... No cards except this Shrug left. I could immolate though, still. It's just like a bit too slow right now. It's not doing enough damage. Tough fight. Tough fight. So I can get rid of Burning Pack now, I think. And play Shrug. I can uppercut. I won't die because it's weakened. Now I'm frailed. Immolate. Uppercut. Okay. So a tough fight, but we managed to get through based on sheer willpower. And yeah, if some people just go into that fight and just play their cards as normal, then simply you would just die there to the second phase. So I saved my cards that were really important and like my highest power cards until phase 2, and then I made it through just barely. Not saying I played it perfectly or anything, but I had the right idea, and that's really all you need a lot of the time. And we have a corruption here now, which is excellent with our Feel No Pain Dark Embrace that we have already, so definitely clicking on corruption and you're going to see the power of corruption here. And wow, that's a Snecko Eye as well. So Snecko Eye is drawing us to 2 extra cards each turn, making us find our stuff more consistently, and makes corruption cost somewhere between 0 and 3 instead of always 3. And the downside of the cards being random cost is not as significant when they all cost 0 if corruption's in play. Of course, the Feel No Pains might cost more with the normal, which would be a bit of a shame, but still worth clicking on here. So I'll be taking a Snecko Eye. Some people might be confused, why is Snecko Eye even good? And it's because you draw 2 extra cards turn. That's insane. Yes, may be a downside if you draw all 3 cost cards, of course, but sometimes you can even make that an upside, and then Snecko Eye becomes very exceptional. And so yeah, I'm just going to be killing the Act 3 boss here. I'm not going to try to fight the heart. This video is supposed to be for people who are trying to just increase their ascension level, and they are trying to just kill Act 3 bosses. Eventually you may reach the heart, and that's totally fine. So I'll be ignoring the green key here, and just going the way I want. The only 3 elite path is this way, but that looks very scary. But I think we can do it pretty comfortably with our deck now having corruption in it. But just to prove how strong we are, and like, I don't think we even need like that much more help here, so. We might gas out though, to be honest. I will take the 3 elite path. Let's do it. A bit of a scary one, but it's fine. I'll be playing a bit faster here. Snecko Ice, in some ways, simplifies the fights because you just play the cards that you can play when they cost the right amount, etc. And hopefully can wait for feed here, that'd be nice. Once I play Corruption, I can just draw my entire deck. No need to worry about not finding the feed again. And there it is. The armaments, upgrade my feed. And I have to do a little more damage here. And you're up to 117 max health, very good. And so we would like to add just more skills to our deck that we can keep going with Corruption. You don't want to add so many that you can't find the Corruption, but generally speaking, more skills is good. So Kruger's pretty good as well. Yet again, a fine card. I'll take that. Other cards were just attacks that I'm not particularly interested in, for the same reasons as all the other ones I skipped earlier. And here we are already full blocking, so I may just bash and uppercuts. And this enemy will shuffle in some burns into our deck and just hit us pretty hard, but relatively low health for Act 3 here, so hopefully we can just simply waltz through this one. And I upgraded the Dark Embrace, which reduced the cost from 3 to 1, which was very nice. Feed is in my discard pile. Drawing our whole deck with Dark Embrace. And sadly can't play the feed there, but that's fine. Just get it on the next one. I may just instead do this. And that's good enough. Yeah, I don't have armaments anymore, it seems. I have played it already, so can just play the feed and get out. Good fights. So we have 3 cards here. Hemo is an attack yet again from Act 1. It's very, very good. But at this point of the run, we don't need the more damage here. And if we were adding damage, it'd have to be very exceptional damage. No longer have Gremlin Nob to get through, so not as exciting. Pummel, same thing. It does exhaust, which is a bit better for our exhaust synergies. And it is good with Akabeko as well, interestingly. So this Pummel is actually very pickable, but it's still not quite good enough, I would say, to add. And a third Feel No Pain. While it seems incredible, it's actually not as good as you would think. I think if I didn't have Snecko Eye, I wouldn't click this, actually. Cluttering your hand with all the cards that like scale you and none of the cards that are fast can actually be bad. But because we have Snecko, not only are we drawing 2 extra cards a turn, but we also may low roll on the cost of these 2 that we have already, and therefore preventing us from actually playing when we want to. So just to have this insurance, I'll click on the third one. I think it is, if you don't have Snecko here, you should not click that. I do think that. Or at least you should consider not clicking it. And here we have a Writhing Mass. This enemy changes its intents when you hit it with unblocked attack damage. And one of the options it has is to shuffle a curse into your deck. So against this enemy, you'll want to avoid attacking it unless you can always deal more unblocked attack damage to it afterwards. Just in case it starts to curse you. You don't want to get cursed. And so here, despite the fact that I can pummel here, I may just choose not to. And in this case, though, I might still rip it. I have this headbutt here. And that's fine. So now I can True Grit and draw a card. Get rid of Hemo. So I'm looking to find feed so I can upgrade my feed where I play as armaments. But I don't think that's that important. I'll just pass. Draw my other Feel No Pain. Now every card in my deck, the skill is gaining me so much block, drawing me a card. Boy, is it good. And armaments to upgrade feed, sure. And just gonna chill. Got some big damage coming up. Sadly, I'm weakened. And there's the curse intent. That's what it looks like there. So break that. And you can see we're getting a little low on skills here. So got to get out of this fight relatively soon. I may artifact pot here, in fact. Not a fan of this. So just play all the skills I need to full block, and then I'll pass. Gotta make sure I don't run out of gas completely before killing this. And I still have no way to gain strength or anything like that, so just one copy of like a spot weakness or something like that would be really nice. Demon form I would take, of course, that would be huge. So, despite our deck being arguably very strong, we're not quite getting there on the damage front here. And I made a bit of a mistake there by attacking, but I think taking that little bit of a risk there was pretty fine because that 42 damage was huge. So looking to kill this now. This is down to 15 health, but then it'll gain 4 block, so it's actually 1 off here, but I still have a headbutt in my hand, so it's fine. There we go. Made it through Writhing Mass. Horrifying enemy. And Body Slam is here, and that's actually really interesting. That's a way to kill stuff with my block deck. So I'm gaining so much block because I have 3 Feel No Pains. Body Slam, even though I have Snecko Eye and this costs 0, is actually very pickable here. I think I will click it. I need some damage, which I don't really have, like, a good damage card. One more Hemokinesis or whatever that I skipped earlier would not fix that problem by itself. Cost 3 though, that's not good. This fight, I can just play Immolate. And that would be rather good. So I'm just going to split the damage here a little bit. Probably not going to feed here, but you never know. Just save it. Play all of my powers before playing the skills. And could perhaps find a way to apply Vulnerable first, but I think I just want to play this Immolate before I reshuffle. And there's a Headbutt. I can go Immolate, Headbutt, get the Immolate, and then draw it again. Goodbye, Darklings. And Bloodletting looks pretty huge here as well. Another Burning Pact also looks pretty huge. Definitely interested in this energy, I think. And of course, the fact that it costs 0 with Snecko Eye is not nearly as much of a drawback, because it will cost 0 once Corruption is in play. So I'll click that. And start with our Burning Pact to draw cards. Immolate can go here, not an area of effect fight or anything like that. And Armaments will upgrade the Dark Embrace to cost 1, so I can do that first. Pretty good. This is a bit tough. I don't have any Feel No Pains in play yet. So I want to just play Feel No Pain. I'm pretty comfortable with just doing that. And I even have 4 block here. And then I'm not even going to play the Hemo. I don't think that damage is going to matter. Take 2 less damage. And I didn't play Pommel there either. I didn't want to draw just in case there was something good, and it was Corruption. I should have checked my draw pile to confirm that that was the case. But yes, indeed, Corruption was at the bottom, so drawing it would have been bad a lot of the time. Get rid of Emo now, it's fine. And so there's Body Slam. So let's see if I can get there here. Yep. So now suddenly this Body Slam is going to be hitting very hard. Play every skill in our deck. That's fine. And play Body Slam. Boom! And we can even headbutt it back on top. Oh wait, but I want to feed. Can I feed? No, not enough. Wait, unless I can feed, in fact. Just do it next turn. It's fine. Okay. So, Body Slam cooking there. Very happy to see that. And here's an attack that I could consider. It's 22 damage. I don't love it, but I'm not finding much else for damage here. I think I'm going to skip still and just roll out this Body Slam for right now. Something like a Barricade would also be really huge right now to preserve all of the block that we're gaining. So definitely playing Corruption over a second Feel No Pain, of course. And I'm going to try to draw here just to find Dark Embrace didn't get there. So just going to pass. No need to play these skills yet. They're going to go away forever, and I don't want that. And this turn, it is not tangible. Playing this trigger could actually be a disaster, because I kind of need this Body Slam. There we go. I now upgraded it. So I'm just going to do this, gain enough block to not to die, and then apply Vulnerable, and then next turn, hopefully, we can play our whole deck and Body Slam this Nemesis for the kill. Let's go. Trigger all burn. Uppercut, and I actually want to try to line it up so that I can feed still. That'd be nice. The Body Slam for 162 seems good. And then we got there. Perfect. And find a Lantern. First Relic in a while since Anchor. Lantern gives us 1 energy at the start of each combat. Pretty nice, to be honest. We draw 7 cards on turn 1. And a Burning Pact always, so that 1 energy can help us get some stuff in play if we draw it. And yet again, more just attacks. Don't want any of this. This is an over-explained run, but it should be pretty obvious at this point that I don't want any of this trash. So go next. And here we are in the upgrade screen. Might be about time to upgrade our feed finally, but perhaps even better to upgrade True Grit. But I think if we just upgrade feed, how much more health will we get? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll just upgrade True Grit. And of course, the energy upgrades on Dark Embrace and Corruption no longer mattering when you have Snecko Eye. The cards are random cost. But Immolate killing both these guys is pretty good. But I'm gonna draw first, see what happens. Corruption's here. And I could just kill her right now. Oh, and Feed is here. Okay. Good fight. Another Seeing Red is here. Another Pommel Strike Plus is here. Pommel Strike Plus might be pretty good damage as well. It's definitely drawing 2 cards. Wild Strike is unpickable trash in almost every run. Dealing 12 damage for 1 is good, but that wound in your deck is just too brutal. Also another Seeing Red, just basically another card for that adding gas to our deck. And I think now with our game plan of play a billion cards and then Body Slam, I actually do want this Seeing Red here, so I'll take that. It doesn't matter, it gets in the way a little bit of drawing our deck because We have so much draw and so much good stuff to put in play that I think it's fine. And the self-forming clay is here. Whenever we lose health, we get 3 block next turn. A solid relic, but we're not taking too much damage here, so perhaps not great. And Giant Head is here. Giant Head is in peril here. We're going to play so many cards in one turn, and every time you play a card, Giant Head receives 10% more damage from attacks that turn. So this buff right here. And so the more cards you play in a turn, the more damage it takes, and therefore this deck will be well positioned against it. Like this and this. And just looking for our good cards, of course. Getting weakened twice in a row here. Not too bad. Just gonna do this and this. And once his countdown reaches 1, it'll start hitting us for a lot. Upgrade my feed, and then just chill, I think. Wait till I'm not weakened anymore. And here we go. Play this on the Pommel Strike because it costs 3. Play a billion cards. Play a bash. Trigger this other Pommel Strike that also costs 3. And already hitting for 372 damage. If I play one more skill, it might actually go too high. Let's play Bloodletting. Okay, perfect. 426, and then we can feed. So once again, getting away with the feed there. And oh, we found a demon form. That's really, really nice. So demon form will give us 2 strength a turn, and it also is better with Snecko Eye, costing somewhere between 0 and 3 instead of just 3. So yes, very happy to see this demon form. That'll pretty much confirm that we win, even though we were already probably good. So yeah, clicking on that. And Warpaint is here as well, upgrading 2 random skills. Always check the card reward before taking any Warpaint or similar relic, because you may find a card within the card reward that you would like to upgrade. And Flexpod is here. Probably better than some potion up here. You'll notice that even though we've had 5 potions shown up here, they haven't been super relevant. Although the artifact potion into the champ was very, very good. This transient might be killable, actually. Let's see here. Uppercut. Feel no pain. Can headbutt the uppercut back on top, I suppose. It's not really good, though. Sure, whatever. Transient, of course, loses damage when you damage it, equal to the same amount, which makes it better to be able to do damage. Transient's one of those fights where if you're sort of a deck that wants to scale and doesn't do much damage in the early turns, then you can really be in trouble. It can be a very scary enemy. So play all our powers, and then Bloodletting. Hope to draw something good. Didn't, so we pummel instead. There's True Grit, so saved. And it's a little bit scary to do this, like play my whole deck, so I'm not going to do that. I could run out of gas and die to this transient, that would be bad. Not interested in doing that for my first Overexplained run. I really am one-banging it right now, and a very cool fight against the champ involved. So, not interested in dying for no reason. Just block for enough, play Body Slam, and Body Slam doing this well is very exciting. Body Slam is a card that not seeing play very often, and Flame Barrier's here, a good block card. Haven't seen one of these all run. I will happily take that, especially with Corruption, Snecko Eye, all of that stuff. But at any point in this run, if I had seen a Flame Barrier, I would have taken it with the block situation I had earlier. Feel no pain into Burning Pact. on Seeing Red? Yeah, Shrug probably. And Demon Form is here. Not at its best in this fight, that's for sure. Worth playing there, since it cost a little amount. And we get to feed again. Back to our regularly scheduled program. Maybe I can find armaments and then maybe it costs 0. Nope. So I'll just play it, that's fine. And no Exploder anymore, so don't have to worry about dying to the Exploder. And since I am already blocking for enough, even after attacking with the Spiker damage reflecting, I will just hit it, and that way set up for killing soon. If you can attack the Spiker without taking some additional damage, then it's pretty wise to do so, generally speaking. And I've already used my feed, so I'd love to just get out. This will not deal damage to me. The Spiker's only doing 6, so I can do that. And then now it's just the Repulsor left to deal with. Goodbye. Regen potions here, 3 common attacks yet again. Not going to explain this again. Anger is here, which is an interesting exception. Sometimes having that 0 cost attack that duplicates itself can actually be very, very strong. But in this case we have a Snecko Eye, so that's not true. But definitely Anger is a notable exception for common attacks. It's has this very unique effect of shuffling more copies of itself in and costing 0. And that's very fascinating. But otherwise, Cleave and Clash are pretty trash. Skip those. And Nemesis is here yet again. Pretty good opening hands, although none of my really good cards are here. Can exhaust this Hemo probably instead of defend, just in case we draw Corruption Dark Embrace. It didn't get there here. It's very sad. So going to just do as much damage as I can without playing Headbutt, I think, because I don't want any. Actually, Burning Pact on top is fine. Let's get Burning Pact back. And taking 46 damage. Who made this fight? No Dark Embrace, sadly. Could have played a Speed Potion there to save some health. Probably should have done that. Could have saved me 10 health there. No big deal, of course, but definitely am going a bit fast here now, so I should have taken more time to consider that. And no Feel No Pains in play. They all cost quite a lot, so that's a bit awkward. So once again, getting more burns, and can't really kill it here, unfortunately. If I keep drawing, I could find my Seeing Reds, but it's a bit sus. I could also draw a potion. I think I maybe do go for it here, actually. Like, letting this turn go and it goes intangible again and I have 10 burns in my deck now could actually be very, very awkward. So I'm looking to just kill here. There's the Body Slam. But right now we're not gaining any block per card we play, because I don't have Feel No Pain. So a little bit awkward there. I'm going to exhaust this Feel No Pain because it costs too much. Yet again, 3 energy Feel No Pain. So I'll play this one because I can also still Body Slam after playing Seeing Red. Have exactly enough. And then here we go. Now we're cooking. Here's that Bloodletting. Pretty good. And Uppercut, Body Slam kills. So I'll just do that. Feed is still in the mix here, but I'm not interested in messing around with Nemesis here. Nemesis is very spooky. And another Shrug is here. Totally fine. Draws a card as well. I'll take that. Rupture is here. Do I damage myself? I just have Bloodletting and that's it. And Emo, I guess. That's not happening though. So Rupture is here. Whenever you lose HP from a card, you gain strength. Can be good, as I mentioned earlier, with like Combust or something like that to gain strength, but it's a bit slow. And in this case, we don't have any synergy. And then once again, an attack common is here. Not interested in that. Shrug is a skill for our Corruption deck and draws a card, so I'll click that. And oof, a repeat of the Writhing Mass is not what we wanted to see. Hate this guy. Play our good cards. I could take 3, and I'm okay with this, to be honest. I'd rather play Feel No Pain to get that in play. It is cursing us, so we definitely want to stop that from happening. And I believe I'll be able to kill this turn with this Body Slam involved. Once again. Feed is still in the mix yet again. There it is. Armaments for the feed. And then at this point, if I were to vulnerable it, the Body Slam would actually overkill, and I would be very sad. So I want to gain a little bit more block until I'm doing roughly, I need to do about 163, no, 163 plus 16. 179. There we go. That's perfect. And then feed. Perfect. Oh, no, it has malleable. I forgot. Mistake! So yes, because it has malleable and it gains block after taking damage, then I forgot about that. So my number was wrong after all. A bit of a whoops there, missed 4 max health, but we are still good. And there's a second Body Slam. You already know I'm clicking on that. Hell yeah. And no need to take the key, we're just killing Donu Deka here, it seems. So upgrade my demon form. And this should have been a very smooth run, other than that champ fight, which was very sus. God, that was so sus. Yep. Don't want to play this shrug, which will put us down to 0 energy because we might accidentally draw a corruption. Definitely don't want to do that. And of course these guys have artifact charges, so can't just weaken it here, unfortunately. Get rid of a True Grit. And then I'll get rid of the artifacts on this guy, I guess. Not interested in playing Immolate. I'm not going to need that damage when I'm one-shotting them with Body Slam. And a little bit of an oof here. We have Dark Embrace and Corruption both costing 3, but with Corruption I can then play this Bloodletting for 0, and then play Dark Embrace. Just fine. And here, this is the last fight of the whole run, so I don't feel the need to full block here. I know I'm taking 21, but I'd rather save all of my skills for that big turn where we're playing 2 Body Slams. So I'm going to pass. No need to worry. And I should be using these potions as well. There's a demon form that I could have had ticking this whole time. And there's going to be a skill pot involved here for sure. So this looks like the turn where I can do the thing. So I'm going to go ahead and skill pot now. Get rid of a demon form, which is not going to be useful. And demon form wasn't even really good here because we had Body Slam doing over damage, but if we hadn't found the Body Slams, would have been pretty good. And we gain so much block, so much block. Can get rid of feed now, although that would have been actually fine to just play because it exhausts. And strength pod as well, we can play this. Get rid of some cards. Oop, not that one. And deal. Slam! Slam! And we made it. So a very exciting run of Slay the Spire, I would say. A very solid deck. We ended up getting there with the Dark Embrace Corruption synergy stuff, kind of showing the power of Ironclad, but we were missing that way to scale our damage, and then eventually getting there with a Body Slam. So just showing that some cards, which may be bad, arguably, are very, very good in certain situations. Body Slam's a card you almost never want to click on, generally speaking. But when you do want to click on it, boy is it good. and you just have to core principle, understand why a card is good, what makes it good, and when it's good. And if you can do that, then you'll be well on your way to beating Ascension 20 of this game. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And as always, have a beautiful day.